Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Plug Talk with Fuego, hosted by yours truly, Fuego. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing well. Everything is alright with y'all. And everything is good with me right now. This is like just a quick live check and whether I'm doing good, especially whether you guys are doing good. Because, like I said, you guys are the support. You guys are the main reason why I'm doing this. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, basically. So I always have to check up on you guys. Yeah. But yeah, today's episode is going to be a very serious and very deep episode because, okay, but it's also going to have, those moments where we're going to talk about some fun topics. And yeah, it's just basically everything media wise, everything that's happening in the media, because this podcast is now solely focused on just the media and entertainment industry and everything we see, whether it be in the news or whether it be basically, anything that has to do with media and entertainment, but also serious topics as well. Well, the first let me just say what the topics are going to be, right? We're going to be talking about the upcoming BRICS Summit in South Africa, the BRICS Summit in 2023. It's going to be happening in Sandton this week. We'll also be talking about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie, excuse me, and we'll be talking about Drake. I know you're probably tired of hearing about Drake, but I'm a huge Drake fan, so don't judge me. Let me just fix this. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. And yeah, we're also going to be talking about Mason Greenwood. And the reason why we're going to be talking about these topics is because the BRICS Summit in 2023 is going to be big. The world leaders, or 40, if I could say 45 of the world leaders, are coming together to try and basically overthrow NATO and the American empire and basically take away their power and take them out of that seat of power that they've been in for the past couple of years. Because honestly, it's just been bad. They haven't been helping anybody but themselves in reality. And with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem movie, well, I just watched it recently and it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was one of the best movies I've watched in a long time, especially one of the best animated movies I've watched in a long time. So shout out to Seth Rogen. He's an amazing producer and amazing director as well. And he knows what he's doing. And I just can't wait to see what they have next in the franchise because I definitely think they're going to make a second and a third movie for it. And with Drake, I'm going to be talking about his gambling addiction, because we don't know whether it's real or whether it's fake, because it could easily just be, just something for cloud and for the media, like I was saying. And with Mason Greenwood, we know of all the allegations that he's been facing, and just recently he has been found not guilty of those allegations. And even though his career has taken a huge hit, he's now just trying to find his feet. And I will be discussing what happened, why he's leaving his boyhood club, and yeah. So let's get into the first topic, right? The BRICS Summit. So the BRICS bloc, which consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is hoping for an expansion on the number of countries involved, right? Over 40 countries are hoping to join, and this will all be taken into consideration at the summit this coming week in Sandton. And the reason why all these 40 countries are coming in, are wanting to join BRICS, is because they are tired of being mistreated and of the abuse that NATO has been basically doing. And they want to better their countries because nobody is content with their country being a third world country. I mean, I'm from South Africa. I live in South Africa. I'm not happy that South Africa is a third world country. So there's a huge opportunity with this, right? There's a huge positive and there's also a huge negative with all these countries joining. And This comes up that like all of this comes after major players in the bloc ditched the dollar, right? So in the beginning of the year, a lot of big countries stopped using the dollar to trade, and they stopped using that currency to trade whatever they were trading, and basically using that as a main currency in their country. That was big, bro. Like I remember seeing all of the notifications, all of the posts on Instagram, and I was like, wow, this is deep, bro. Like this is very, very deep, bro. And I was like, okay, but where is it gonna go? Where are they going with this? Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? And everybody was just wondering, and everybody was skeptical about it. But I now see what the vision was with that move, right? They all have a desire to level a global playing field as many are not, benefiting from the current one right now. Because basically, the higher powers, the big countries, NATO, which is obviously America, France, all of the huge countries like England, they're the only ones benefiting from the global playing field right now because they're getting all of the resources that they need from all of the small countries and basically just giving them money while those countries are running out of resources or using all of their resources just to get money so that the economy can be stable, which is just a plot and a plan to just keep the country steady so that the country will not fall and the economy doesn't fall itself, right? A lot pushed for this, including abusive. Sorry, I have to get very. I have to see where my notes are. Um, a lot of them pushed for this, right? And there were a lot of reasons behind this, and obviously, like I've just mentioned, those reasons. This includes abusive trade practices, punishing sanction regimes, neglect of the development needs of poorer countries. That is a big one because a lot of the poorer countries have been neglected and they have basically not been helped. NATO promised to help all of the struggling countries so they could become better and eventually, obviously, become a first world country. But it's 2023 and nothing has changed. It's the same countries that were colonized, that were used for the resources hundreds of years ago, that are still being used for those same resources hundreds of years later. And President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, he did mention this at a UN gathering, I think a United Nations gathering. A whole lot of different countries were there, including France, including Belgium. A lot of the European countries were there. And he explained that African countries will no longer accept the treatment of beggars. African countries will no longer go there and stand there as beggars, begging for money and begging for help. Because at the end of the day, we are all humans. So why can't they help us willingly and give us what we need or help us as much as possible, like where they can, instead of just giving us change and saying, okay, here's some money, here's some funding, do what you can with it. That's your problem, not our problem. NATO have failed to help poor countries develop into first world countries. This was for their benefit as they could remain in a powerful position and could remain using those countries for their resources while bettering and strengthening their economy. And while the other economy was just will stay rocky, like how Joseph will say, "You are shaking, my guy." Those economies are like that. They're shaking, bro. They're shaking very much. And BRICS is a home to 40% of the world's population, right? And a quarter of the global GDP. So the bloc's ambitions of becoming a global political and economic player have been long thwarted. Like I said, NATO have just been using all of these poor countries so they could remain in a powerful position and for their own benefit, which is not a good thing. Like, so you're comfortable with your people eating good, being able to buy things at a low rate, when in countries that are struggling, they have to work twice, three times, four, maybe even five times harder just to get the bare minimum salary that a person in that economy will be maybe working one job. Because I know of people in states and in other countries that do work two, three jobs, but that's because the country is in debt as well and is trying to basically rescue the economy as well. So everybody has their own problems. I get that, but what about helping the little guy? Because the little guy is the one that's providing you with what you need in reality, and you're providing him with what he needs, which is money. He's giving you resources. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, all of these plans for BRICS to become a global political and economic player were thwarted by NATO and internal divisions lack of vision. So basically, inside BRICS, inside the bloc, a lot of people have lacked the vision that presidents like Cyril Ramaphosa and Vladimir Putin have had to basically now take over and become the leading bloc in the global economy. And that has hit BRICS hard because even though BRICS is able to help each other and other small countries, they can only do so much without crippling their own economy. And I mean, we can't expect them to be Superman. So when they were planning this, people in their own divisions lacked that vision so they could become now the big player. So I don't blame a lot of countries or a lot of those people because they just want a quick fix. They want everything to just happen quickly because they are tired of struggling, they're tired of begging, and they're tired of having to work their asses off just to live a bare minimum and average life. It's understandable, but at the same time, it's like you should be able to work with your leaders and work with them so that they can be able to reach the goal that they share together, that they all share, that we all share together, not just the leaders, not just these blocks, not just the divisions, but us as citizens as well have a goal of living a better life and our country being a better place to live in, right? So there's also been a lot of controversy around BRICS, right? Because of one or two countries, Russia and China. But China is not so controversial. Russia is the one that has had the many controversial moments, and I will be getting into that right now. So, President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, is a wanted international criminal because of the war crimes committed in the fight with Ukraine in the war in Ukraine. And there was heavy pressure from the ICC, from the International Criminal Court, to arrest him as soon as he landed in South Africa for the summit, basically. And in South Africa. But South Africa was not willing to arrest him because they knew that arresting him would basically anger the Russian country and would cause a war and would cause Russia to attack South Africa. And South Africa doesn't have the military power or the resources to be able to fight that. And we know for sure that those other countries are not going to help South Africa. Because look at Ukraine. They weren't able to help Ukraine by stopping that whole fight. They were just like, okay, we're just going to stand back and watch. And when the smoke clears, we're going to give y'all maybe a few billion so y'all can do whatever y'all can with it, which in reality doesn't help much. So the South African government and a lot of the big players in South Africa refuse to do this, calling out all of the big nations in NATO, especially America, for being hypocrites because of their war crimes committed in Vietnam, for their war crimes committed in Iraq, because they went to those countries with the sole intent of just putting them in their place, as you may say, as they may say, putting them in their place and basically still being able to take whatever resources they need from them and staying in power. Why now, when we want to do the same to you, do you want to force us to basically put ourselves in danger when you know you're not going to help us in reality? And Vladimir Putin is not going to come to South Africa, thankfully. He will, though, be joining the summit, but he will be joining it virtually online. So he'll basically just be there on a big screen and you'll see his face and he'll be able to speak to them from the comfort of his home in Russia without having to worry about being arrested or worry about anybody just starting some nonsense. And I agree with South Africa taking a step back and saying, no, we are not going to do what you want us to do. We're not going to do your bidding because you have a problem with Vladimir Putin. I'm not condoning what happened in Ukraine because millions lost their lives, millions lost their homes. The country suffered economically, and the country may not ever be the same after what happened. To this day, they're still trying to recover and get back on their feet, as you'll always see the Ukrainian president on the news or in videos talking about how they need help and how they wish that how the big players would actually help them instead of saying we're going to help you and not helping, which is understandable because, I mean, hey, they need help just like anybody else, and they needed more. Okay, I won't say they needed more though, because even though they're struggling, I mean, you look at African countries that are also struggling in that sense, because how many African countries have people who are starving, like starving. When I say starving, I mean you can see their rib cage, bro. And now that there's a war and some white people lose their lives, and please don't take this in a racist way, but some people, white people lose their lives, lose their homes. No, now we want to jump up and say, hey, yeah, now we need to stop that. Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. But when people have been starving for years and years, and people have lost their lives, also with wars in Africa, there are still wars in Africa, and people have lost their lives, but nothing was said of that. They just overlooked that and they say, yeah, we'll help them wherever they can. It's Africa, you know? That's the reality of it, and that shouldn't be the way it is. And I don't know why we're condoning that, but won't condone a war that breaks out in Europe. For me, that's a huge case of hypocrisy. That's a very huge case of hypocrisy. And another example of countries that are just tied of America and NATO are Saudi and the UAE. So basically, the Saudi prince, he said that he's tired of bending over backwards and doing America's bidding and basically helping them strengthen themselves and help themselves. And he was joined by the UAE as they see BRICS as a catapult to help them reach a more prominent role within the global bodies and not just an oil gold mine, basically. Because if you think about it, Saudi and UAE are just seen as oil gold mines, the countries where you can get the most oil, because oil is a huge, I would say, currency or resource that is needed worldwide, not just in Europe, but everywhere. Everyone needs oil because oil is basically used for so many things, for fuel, and it's used in many um, industries. So there's a lot of factors in it. And me mentioning all of these countries, all these situations, all these um, problems because it all leads back to the main problem, which is America and NATO, because they are selfish and narcissistic and they are only working towards bettering themselves and bettering their own lives instead of the lives of the millions, let me say billions of other people in the world who need that same help. And I hope that the BRICS summit goes well and all 40 countries are approved to join, even though that will be difficult to house 40 countries in that bloc, considering that a lot of those countries are poor countries and countries that need help strengthening their infrastructure. They will have to see how they play it because this is a huge opportunity for BRICS to overthrow NATO. This is a very big opportunity for that and to, like I said, level the global playing field. So hopefully it all goes well. I'm hoping it does. But yeah, let me not spend too much time on this topic. I've gone into so much detail, mentioned so many things. If you guys want to know more about this, you can research this at yourself as well. Simple, just go into Google, type it out, BRICS Summit, you read a certain article, then you learn more about this, you know. And yeah, let's move on to the next topic, which is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, the movie. And I just watched it this past weekend. And I must say, like, guys, that movie was amazing. Yo, that movie was just so good that I still think about it even now. I'm still thinking about it even now. Like I'm thinking about it like, wow, that was an amazing movie. And my opinion on the movie is that it's a good movie. The storytelling is perfection because they took the normal story of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they took it, they adjusted it here and there by but by not changing main things, any main features of that story or any characters. They just took the characters from the the the, the comic books, your Superfly, um, Bebop and Rocksteady, so many other characters, the Gecko. So they just took the elements that the movie already had and that cinematic universe already had, and they put it in this movie and changed it a little bit and made it so much deeper, but also gave it such a deeper meaning, in my opinion. Because I'm not going to spoil anything, that's why I'm not going to mention scenes, parts, whatever. But for me, the ending was so perfect that it didn't feel real. Because if you watched the previous series, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 series, or you watch the movies, you see and you know that the turtles want to be like normal humans. They want to be normal teenagers. They just want to live the life that other teenagers live. They want to be able to go to school. They want to be able to date. They want to be able to basically get a job, work, do whatever they possibly can, but also while being heroes. And in the other series and movies, they basically didn't get a happy ending. I think I just gave it away. I think I just gave away the ending. I'm not sure if I did. I don't know if you guys think I gave away the ending, but let me just stop there. Like, my opinion is it's a good movie. Public reviews on it, though, alright? It received a score of 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is good. That's almost 100%, which means that it almost got 100% approval from Rotten Tomatoes, which is a huge platform that basically rates movies and lets people know whether, you should watch it or not. And IMDb also gave it a good rating of 7.5 out of 10, which is good. My opinion, they could have easily given it an 8 or a 9 out of 10 because, bro, that was a top tier movie. That's top 10, one of the best animated movies, like I'm saying. And I know people probably don't feel the same way. Again, we all have our own different and separate opinions. So you'll have your opinion. You may not have enjoyed it as much as we did because you might think it might have been too comical because a lot of people expect it to be deep, like like the main movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or the 2012 series. And for me, it felt good to have a much more lighthearted version of the movie. So instead of just sitting there and thinking like, like, like why do they have to go so deep? How much deeper is it gonna go? Who's gonna die? Who's going to lose their way? Who's gonna leave and all of that? Like with the 2012 series, I mean, it was a good ending. The season 4 ending is considered canon. I also consider the season 4 ending of 2012 canon. So that ending was decent, but it was dark. And at the end of the day, even though it's a comic book based on ninjas, at the end of the day, they're still teenagers. So you have to make it lighthearted. In that movie, they felt like they were teenagers. Like it felt like they were teenagers. Like the jokes they were making, the voices, like Seth Rogen knew exactly what he was doing. And he had a vision to make this movie about teenage turtles that fight crime and basically want to be accepted in society. And I feel like he did a good, I feel like he did a good job. So I would highly recommend you watching that movie. So go online, book your tickets, or go to your closest cinema, book your ticket. That's if you have the money for it. But if you do, go watch it. Go alone, go with your friends. I guarantee that you will enjoy that movie. Definitely. But yeah, that's all I can say about it because it's still a relatively new movie. So I don't want to spoil it. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. So right now I'm gonna move on to the next topic, which is Drake's gambling addiction. I'm just here. Drake's gambling addiction. And the reason why I'm putting it in quoted marks, quotation marks, is because I don't think it's a real problem because I mean, if he's always had a gambling addiction, I feel like he always would have publicized it the way he's publicizing it now. Because every single time there's a big UFC fight, a big game, whether it be in basketball, whether it be in football, I'm talking about NFL, whether it be in soccer as well, he will go out of his way to make a huge bet and post it on his story, even though he knows that there's a high chance of him losing and losing all that money. And there have been many bets that he's lost. I mean, he's lost just recently the Jake Paul fight. He lost with also the Sugar Sean O'Malley fight as well because he bet that what's his name? I forgot the other fighter that he would win. But at the end of the day, he just keeps losing money. And I think to myself, is he really just willingly losing 500K, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million on a bet? Even though he knows himself that there's a high chance that he's going to lose that bet. I don't know, bro. That just it seems fake. It seems phony. It feels like a story rather more than reality, you know? Because, like I said, this may be just promotion for Steak because he's now a partner of Steak, and he's publicizing it. He's always tagging Steak in his posts. Steak have confirmed that they are in partnership with him as well as many other famous individuals as well. So to me, I don't see it as a real problem. Maybe he does have a real problem. I mean, he's Drake, bro. Drake has his issues, bro. Like, and he's also weird. So this could be real, this could be fake, who knows? But personally, I'm not betting $500,000 on Nate Diaz beating Jake Paul, bro. Never. Like, I'm not doing that, bro. Or how much did he bet? Did he bet 250K or 700K? I just know it was in the 100K region. It was a lot of money. And he lost that money. Aljamain Sterling, that's who Sean O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling's fight. He also lost 500,000, which is ridiculous, bro. If you think about it, that is crazy. That is actually very stupid, bro. Like, I'm not even joking. That's very stupid. But yeah, before we go any further, a word from our sponsor, Squad X Clothing. They have some amazing clothes. Check them out. So yeah, when I think about Drake's gambling addiction, I think to myself, why would someone who has a gambling addiction highly publicize that? I mean, I get if you want to make it public and post sometimes, like, guys with Betway, they'll be posting on their statuses or on their stories, like, I just bet this much, or I just won this much of betting of this soccer game, that soccer game. But with him, bro, it's just on a bigger level. So, and he's such a big figure and he has so many corporate sponsors and corporate deals, and he's a businessman. So to me, it doesn't make sense for a businessman of that stature to be out here betting so much money on meaningless things, if I may say so. Because but like there's people who enjoy doing that, so I'm not gonna judge people who do that. I'm not gonna really bash it because the people who love betting and hey, bro, you do you, bro. If you enjoy throwing away money knowing that you may not lose, you may not win, do you and hope that you can win and hope that you can get back whatever you lose or whatever you've lost in the past. But yeah, my opinion on that is I don't think it's real. I really don't think it's real. I think it's just for Insta. I think it's just for the moment, and after a while, when he's no longer in partnership with Stake, he'll probably stop doing this. He'll probably stop posting it on his story. I don't think he'll stop betting. I think he'll just stop posting it on his story because that's what gives it away for me. That makes me think that it's actually not real. That it's just fake, that it's just him just trying to promote them and help promotion for State. Because before Drake started posting all these bets, I had no idea what Stake is. I didn't even Like, bro, you think of if somebody says steak, you think of normal steak that you eat. Now, this is steak, a betting platform where you can bet a whole lot of money on anything, basically. Boxing, UFC, um, soccer, F1, you name it, you can bet a whole lot of money on that and win or lose. Because that's the reality of betting. There's a higher chance of you losing than there is of you winning, especially if the odds are high and against you. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do y'all guys think it's real? Do y'all guys think it's fake? I think it's fake, bro. But only you guys, only he knows. It's only him, his close circle, and state that will be able to confirm whether that this whole betting thing is real or fake. But yeah, another alarming topic or another alarming situation that is now back in the media is Mason Greenwood. So if you don't know who Mason Greenwood is, he's a forward for Manchester United and he was one of the best forwards for his age when he blew on the scene. And obviously what comes with blowing up for a huge team like Manchester United is fame and money. So I think last year or yeah, it was last year, 2021, he was arrested and trialed on abuse and sexual abuse charges because there was leaked audio clip of him basically shouting to a girl saying that she needs to do this and do that, which is basically sexual acts. And we're not condoning any of that. And the thing is, he was found not guilty. That's the thing. That's the thing that like makes you stop and think like, okay, he was accused of it, he was bashed for it, his career was destroyed for it, and at the end he was found not guilty. Which makes you think, is it real? Were the allegations real? Was the girl just lying because she saw a money making opportunity? Because obviously, if he was found guilty, he was gonna end up having to pay her a certain amount of money, and in the end, she didn't get nothing. So and you see a lot of these type of situations in the media. That's the thing. You see a lot of abuse and sexual abuse charges, and you wonder to yourself, like, is it real? I mean, Furlan Mendy, Furlan Mendy, Mendy from Manchester City. He was also facing, I think it was 15 rape and sexual assault charges, and he was found not guilty on every single one of them. And with that, you could tell that one girl came out with a story or made up a story, and all 14 others saw a money making opportunity and piled up on it. And in the end, he was found not guilty. And I just love how he came out and was like, Alhamdulillah. Like when they asked him in an interview, like, what's your thoughts on the verdict? He just said, Alhamdulillah, and he walked away. Just saying, praise be to Allah, praise be to God. And he's thanking God that he was able to prove his innocence. So, like, the thing is, there'll always be a question of whether someone is innocent or whether they're guilty, even long after the case is over. So that's the same situation with Mason Greenwood. Now that the case is over, nobody knows still, nobody's 100% sure whether he's guilty or whether he's not guilty. Personally, I don't know. Oh, I really I have no idea. And I don't want to say he's guilty. I don't want to say he's not guilty because there's not enough conclusive proof that he did what he did. It's just an audio clip, bro. I mean, if there was a video clip of it, then I would say, okay, yeah, now this guy is definitely guilty. Throw away the key and never let him out and never let him play soccer again. But now that he's not guilty, you think to yourself, like, damn, Manchester United did not support him at all. And now he's even left. He's sadly parted ways with his boyhood club after they showed no support, like no support, no remorse whatsoever. They just carried on with life as it was. They released a statement saying that he will no longer play. And yeah, he didn't play. He hasn't played for United even though the new season has started. I think he personally just doesn't want to be there because he's realized that if all of the closest people, if all of the people that are close to me don't believe me, then what am I still doing here? And I fully understand that mentality because, like, I mean, he'd been saying like, I'm innocent, I didn't do that. And now he has proven that he didn't do that. So he has every right to be upset and feel the way he feels and leave United and terminate his contract basically because I think he still had about like 3 or 4 years on his contract. He signed a contract when he was young and he signed a very long-term contract in the deal. And yeah, United were never gonna be in a position to fight to keep him there because obviously with them not supporting, with them basically just leaving him in his dark to fight his demons on his own, that already shows that they didn't care about him. They only cared about him when he was scoring goals and basically helping them win trophies, and that was it. So yeah, I just think he has every right to feel the way he feels, and hopefully his career and Benjamin Mendy, man, that's him and Benjamin Mendy can find their feet back in soccer and be playing football again and hopefully win trophies and be the best versions of themselves. This is their comeback story. This is their revival arc. And hopefully it goes all well. Like I really hope it goes well for them, both of them. But yeah, that's it for me. That's just it on that's all I want to talk about today. Looking back at it, you take what you want from it, but I hope that you learned something from this episode. Sorry for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as well. And if you did enjoy it, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe with the notification bell on, and share this with your friends. Tell your friends to share this with their friends, and so on and so on. And just keep showing love. I mean, just now we gained about so many new subscribers, and I hope we can continue and reach our goal, especially with the views as well, not just on the YouTube shorts, but on the actual main videos and the main episodes. So yeah, I just have a whole lot of content on the way as well. Please check out all the other socials, TikTok, Instagram. Yeah, and show love on all of those. Keep showing love to Willie. Keep showing love to the Willie and Fuego show. And to any other project that we release, TLW Gaming, anything TLW, show love and show support to it because that's real content and that's really good content in my opinion, and in the opinion of all the subscribers as well. They also think the same way. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope to find you here on the next episode.